Hi, in this video we're gonna discuss how to create new user by creating a new resource. To create new user, we should create two methods, one for load form from view file and second to store this form data. So your create method should be as follows. Here we return users create from users folder and create.played.php. Just return this file. Then in a store method, we use validation class to ensure that user insert correct informations. Laravel ships with a simple, convenient facility for validation data and retrieving validation error messages via the validation class. Once a validator instance has been created, the fails or passes method may be used to perform this validation. The first argument passed to the make method is the data under validation. The second argument is the validation rules that should be applied to the data. So we passed all inputs returned from our form. And in the second argument, we give it rules variable, which we defined in the previous model chapter, if you remember. So go to model. Here we have defined these validation rules, and it passes rules variable in the second argument. After this, if validation has failed, redirect to the form again. Here he redirect to users class and then go to create and then load this form. And after load this form again, he will retrieve the errors from validator class. With this, we passes error messages from the validator and pass it to the view by with errors method. After this, we use with input, which means retrieve all data was right in these inputs, expect password input. But we say if data was correct, pass this input into user model objects and save it. We pass input get name into name object and username to username object and email to email object and password also. We create new instance from the user model. As we discussed before, Eloquent make objects from columns in database. We use hash make to hash password. After this, we want to define create routes and store routes in routes file. Go to routes, and we already define resource for all controller methods, but we need to remove index like this to read all controller user methods. Now it's time to create played file. Go to views, users, and create new file, create.played.php. Open this file. This code explained before. URL2 users to go to the index. Users create to the page create a user. This HTML UL to print all errors that was passed by user control with errors validator. Then we create form. Action was go to users, and here we use Laravel form class to clean code form label to generate new label, form text to generate input text. In the first parameter we give the name for this input, and then in the next parameter we give input old name to retrieve all data was wrote by user in this input, and the third parameter to specify attributes to this form input. Again, we do this with username, email, and password. In the end, we add form submit with create new username and form close. But something we need to explain again. If you go to user controller, you may notice with input that retrieve inputs expect password. Yes, this come from input old. As you see, we don't have input old in password. Then we expect password from retrieving password. So let's test. Go to browser and click create a user. We will add wrong data to test validation. Click create new user. Please enter an email address. Okay, we will enter fake email. Create new user. We see this validation message. The name must be at least 5 characters. The username must be at least 5 characters. The password must be at least 5 characters. This come from here, if you remember, from here. After test, let's add correct information. User, username Ahmed, email info at webeasystep.com. Password 123456. Create new user. The email has already been taken. If you see here, we check here in the validation to the emails was inserted before. Okay, change it to Fakhr and password 123456. Create new user. Okay, successfully created user Fakhr. Let's go to PHP my admin. Refresh. You see here that password was hashed.